So today is the NBA trade line, and the biggest of the trades that happened is the blockbuster deal between the Sixers and the Nets, sending James Harden and Paul Millsap to the 76ers, and Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and two future first round draft picks to Brooklyn. And I'm going to talk about this trade, and we're going to talk about what it leaves the Eastern Conference with. So, first off, the biggest factor of the trade is how good is Ben Simmons? He hasn't played in a while, and has he been not playing as well because of Philadelphia in the past couple of years? Has he been wanting to get out for a while? Is he going to start shooting the ball in Brooklyn? And is KD going to be a huge mentor to him? So personally, I like Ben Simmons. I don't think he's that good, but I root for him. I like watching him play. He's exciting to me, but I don't think he's that good. I think the Sixers did a really good job getting James Harden for him. I think Ben Simmons was kind of holding back the 76ers. I think he's a really good defender, but with him and Matisse Thybulle both on the 76ers, those are two players you kind of really can't have on the same time on the floor just because of their limited abilities on the offensive end. So where do I think it leaves these two teams in the East? I think the East is slightly weaker this year, but I think Milwaukee should be the overall favorite. So I think the best team in the NBA is still in the Eastern Conference, and I don't think this trade puts either one of these teams ahead of Milwaukee. I would still take Milwaukee in a 7-game series over both the Nets and the 76ers. I just think Giannis is too good, although I think Philly is really close. I have them ahead of Brooklyn. If Brooklyn gets into the playoffs, because that's a question now, and if Kevin Durant comes back healthy and things with Kyrie get figured out, I think they'd be a scary team just because of how good those two guys are on their own. And I think Ben Simmons being in the team is interesting just because he can potentially guard Giannis. So in a Nets versus Bucks series or a Phillies versus Bucks series, I think I'd give the edge to the Nets being able to pull off upset against the Bucks. But I think it would be an upset because I have the Bucks still being the best team in the East. As far as 76ers versus the Nets, I still think the 76ers are the better team. So depending how the matchups go in the Eastern Conference, that's just the way I see things going. Like if the 76ers get matched up with the Nets, I have the Sixers winning. If the 76ers get matched up with the Bucks, I have the Bucks winning. If the Nets get matched up with the Bucks, I have the Nets putting up a better fight, but I still have the Bucks winning. But I just don't see a way where the Sixers could get over the Bucks. I could easily see them getting over everybody else, but not the Bucks. So if just the way seeding works out, Milwaukee happens to play Brooklyn before Milwaukee happens to play Philly, I could see the Bucks losing to I could see them losing to Kevin Durant and the Nets. With my problem with Philly is you still have two ball dominant guys. This was the same issue that Harden had in Brooklyn, and a similar issue that the Lakers are having in LA with LeBron and Westbrook. The way you had the issue with Harden and Kyrie and KD, it's just that these guys always want the ball. So having two of them, Embiid and Harden, that just want the ball in their hands, they're really good players. But can they get along? I think they'll be able to, but I just don't think it's the best thing you could have done. I would have rather seen the Sixers get CJ McCollum. I would rather found them do that deal because I think this way you still get to hold on to the first round picks. Because I think they've done a tremendous job drafting. They've drafted guys like Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey. Like these guys are very valuable to their team at the moment, and it's because they haven't been giving away any of these first round picks. I really wanted to see them just do well and make a run to the championship with all their guys, and that's what they've pretty much been doing at this point. They went out and got Tobias Harris and Jimmy Butler in recent years, but that's kind of what they had become at this point. Like they adopted Tobias and let Jimmy go because that's the whole trust the process thing. Was these are our guys, and that's what I wanted to see them do. Kind of have Embiid. Still the main guy, but Harden's the second guy now. I think Harden is definitely better than Jimmy Butler is when they brought him in. I think this is a better addition than Jimmy Butler was. My only issue with Harden is his defense, but I think Matisse Thybulle and his ability kind of covers that nicely. So you look at a starting lineup that they have of Tyrese Maxey at point guard, James Harden at shooting guard, Matisse Thybulle at the 3, Tobias Harris at the 4, and Joel Embiid at the 5. That is a dominant lineup. I am a huge fan of that lineup, and I think that's a scary lineup. But my only issue is I still think Milwaukee's a better team. Losing Seth Curry is big because he's a really good shooter, but they still got guys that can shoot the ball. I'm not really concerned with their 3-point shooting. I'm just concerned with their ball movement. That's my biggest thing with them. Tyrese Maxey has been criticized for his passing ability, and that's just because he's young. He has to learn it yet. It's a tough skill to learn, tough thing to develop in the NBA is how good of a passer you are. And it Harden can facilitate, but Harden loves to do his step backs. And with the new rule changes and that type of stuff, I just don't think Harden's as valuable. As far as the net side of it go, Ben Simmons, this move really is kind of just hoping KD can turn Ben Simmons into a shooter because they don't have much future. And if Harden doesn't want to be there, this way they don't lose Harden in free agency. So they're kind of saving that. But I don't really see the fit too well. Like as far as them winning a championship this year, I just don't see it with that roster. But things will get interesting in the playoffs. Every year, something always happens, some sort of injury, like it happened to KD. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows who's going to get an easier path? Who knows who's going to get a harder path? It's going to be a great playoffs to watch. We're going to have a lot of interesting series in the Eastern Conference. Like, are the Cavs legit? Can they knock a team out? Can they knock Philly out if that's the 4-5 matchup or a 3-6 matchup, something like that? It'll be great to see this year. A lot of interesting teams that haven't teams we've never seen before just by these trades, like players you've never seen play together. Like, James Harden's not going to have much time to get used to the Philadelphia 76ers before a playoff run. Ben Simmons hasn't even played it all this season, and he's going to have to get used to the Nets. And if he comes out and plays the next couple days, he won't be playing with Kyrie unless it's a away game. He won't be playing with KD because of his injury. So by the time playoffs comes around, you'll have Ben Simmons playing with potentially guys he's never played before, just the way it's going to work out. So it's going to be a really exciting playoffs. In the East, as far as the East goes, I'm still going to roll with Milwaukee. I don't think this trade makes anybody uh, more of a favorite than Milwaukee is. I think the Sixers are better than the Nets after this trade. I like this trade better for the Sixers than the Nets, but I think it's a win-win trade. I would rather see the Sixers do something else with Ben Simmons, but it's good that they didn't just waste a year and not move Ben Simmons and have him sit the bench all year. So let me know what you guys think.